for allegedly instructing opposition leaders not to attend the meeting.
We do not want to be ambushed the way we were ambushed. We were not part of preparations. We are told that KEPSA has organized it, that KEPSA has invited us. We don't know, there are supposed to be resolutions to be signed. We cannot sign something that we have not participated in its preparation. So that's the reason why ODM and CORD did not boycott a meeting to consult over peaceful elections. If it is properly organized, we will attend. But we will not be a party to something that is meant to sanitize a process that is flawed.
Right, and remember, our Saturday night poll is based on that leadership summit and some of those events we've seen unfold. We are asking you tonight, do you support the decision by the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy to skip the leadership summit that was held in Kwale? Tweet us your views at KTN News, at KTN Kenya, at Sofia Wanuna, or 22155. You can send in a message to that number. In other news, nurses working in the public sector will go on strike on Monday, December the 5th. Speaking today on their behalf, the Kenya National Union of Nurses has given the government an ultimatum to sign the collective bargaining agreement before then. Nurses insist that without harmonized salaries in the health sector, they would not offer any services in public facilities.
Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
Come Monday 5th, our members of the Kenya National Union of Nurses are going to go on strike.
The strike is on in full force. Those who are spreading rumors of court orders, we have not received any court orders, so our strike is there. And what we are doing is actually what we was supposed to have been, this was supposed to have been seen before the revolution.
To be very clear on the institutions and facilities which are going to participate in the strike, for the national government, we have Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. We have Spinal Injury Hospital, Mathare National Hospital, where we put our patients who are mentally challenged. And for the first time, Mathare is going to participate in the strike.
Chief Justice David Maraga is optimistic that his tenure at the judiciary will bring change in the manner in which cases are handled. Speaking in Kisii County during a Thanksgiving prayer following his appointment as CJ, Maraga reiterated the need of upholding the highest moral standards by judicial officers in the country. Education Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who was also in attendance, said he is sure the Maraga tenure will bring change in the judiciary. More than 50 lawyers and officials from the Judicial Service in Nyanza also attended the prayers.
We use in this country all the laws I have seen in constitutions of the world are modeled on the 10 Commandments in the Bible.
But my own prayer is this, that as I serve this country and as I do what I do, I never get to a point where I will do anything that will bring shame to the name of the Lord. Amen. That we remain firm and we remain truthful in the things we do, to the honor and glory of God.
She has swum against the current to become the first deaf model to win the Miss Tourism title in Mombasa. She went on to be crowned Miss Congeniality in the Miss Tourism Kenya contest, where she was a finalist. Here is the story of Bablin Mulaki, the deaf girl who will stop at nothing to live her dreams.
In a society that has a long way to go in empowering the disabled, Bableen Mulaki has come a long way.
It has been my dream. So when I was really dreaming of becoming a Miss World. So the first time I met my interpreter and she told me that there was some event, cultural event somewhere. Then she registered me for it. I went there and we met in an office. Then I wanted to register for Miss Tourism for the first time in 2014. They said they couldn't register me because I was deaf.
From an early age, Bableen has defied the odds to chase her dreams. It was touch and go from the beginning. She wanted to model, but who had heard of a deaf-mute model? Selling the idea to pageant official was difficult.
So we tried to stand strong, and I promised them I will try. They said that the challenge was communication, and I said them we could communicate through the interpreter. So there was a big challenge there. So because they had a lot of attitude. I tried, I went for it, I became number 2, but I never gave up.
Still, resilience triumphed over resistance, and she took part in the Mombasa Miss Tourism contest and won. This, however, was not the end. She had her eyes set on the Miss Tourism Kenya prize.
Nationally, I became number 4, but I was sure I was going to win.
For the deaf, having a translator by your side is second nature. This, however, is a luxury not many can afford. While there may be scholarships for the disabled, many have to come up with the money for their translators.
I would also like to advise the government that they should know that the deaf people have a challenge in education. They must employ interpreters because we want to achieve this education. We want to be included in all schools.
Bableen now hopes her success in the beauty industry will bear fruit and open doors for people living with disabilities.
Life has really changed and I'm feeling so good. Why people are so surprised, like you're deaf, you've achieved, you're beautiful. Some people invite me to many events and I'm there, I do speech there, I work, I advise people, encourage people, the youths communicate with me, I advise them on work and I'm encouraging a lot of people.
Her deafness will no doubt make the proverbial runway of life long and hard, but she is determined to do it and take with her those facing similar challenges. She has been nominated for the Malaika Award for winning the Miss Tourism Mombasa pageant, being crowned Miss Congeniality in the Miss Tourism Kenya pageant, and for her work with the less fortunate members of society and promoting their rights. Trix Ingado, KTN News, Nairobi.
So different public service vehicle operators in Nairobi converged at the Kenyatta International Convention Center for Nganya Awards that showcase the unique Kenyan matatu culture, which is popular among Kenyan youth. Now, this was the awards' 3rd anniversary. Matatu operators from different routes paraded their vehicles to allow the youth select the best PSV and crew. Works of art, flashy lights, loud music and graffiti have come to be associated with the matatu culture. The vehicles are installed with onboard audio-visual entertainment and free Wi-Fi to attract those keen to interact on social media platforms. The matatu culture has come in handy in the promotion of local art and homegrown music. This year's theme focused on road safety while encouraging creativity. PSV operators have often been blamed for road accidents and rogue behavior. In 2013, the government banned PSV operators from playing loud music and videos for safety reasons. The ban was lifted last year.
The matatu culture, we award the best in the matatu industry. Vile kama kuna FIFA Ballon d'Or, the best kwa football wanakuwa awarded. Sasa hivyo ndio pia matatu culture Nganya Awards iko.
Now, the International Day for Persons Living with Disabilities is aimed at building a more inclusive and equitable society and world for persons living with disabilities. But how exactly do we get there as a country? Well, Jeremiah and Pauline Muasia are a deaf couple, and all their children are also deaf. Dorcas Wangira spent some time with them in their home and now reports.
I am free. I am free because Jesus loves me. I am free. I have a future.
A silent melody from her heart welcomes us into the single-room home in Embakasi South. Almost everyone who lives in this story building knows this family.
My name is Mary Muasia. I live with my parents, my elder and younger sister.
Pauline Mwase is in her late 20s. She can't hear us, but she wasn't born this way. At the age of 2, her parents realized that while playing with other children, she gradually began to lose her hearing.
I didn't understand what was happening. I don't even know what was happening to me. But at least I went to school up to class 8.
A difficult transition was in store for them who had to cope with her disability. Pauline, who was born and raised in Kitui, went through a special school and was skilled as a tailor in a vocational school. Her sister helped her to get a casual job at EPZ at the river, but in 2007 she came to Nairobi to look for better opportunity. She got more than that. At the Emmanuel Church for the Deaf, she would meet Jeremiah Mwasia Mutunga, now aged 32. 10 years since, they're now parents of 3 girls, Jane aged 10, Mary aged 9, and 5-month-old Lucy. Jeremiah has just picked Jane from the Machako Special School of the Deaf. None of them knows what their siblings or parents sound like, but they understand each other in a language that transcends sound. Jeremiah, who comes from Boni Makueni, at least had lived in a silent home.
I never expected to get any deaf baby.
My parents were also shocked to see that I have a deaf family. I also have 3 deaf brothers. It is really challenging when you meet with the hearing. They do not understand you, and I know that my children will face these challenges.
But they're not alone. The International Day of the Disability held each year casts light on the plight of disabled persons. According to the 2009 National Population Census, there are 1.3 million disabled persons in the country, 187,818 having hearing impairment. Data from the National Councils of Persons with Disability and WHO, however, posits the number to be at 2 to 4 million, with close to 600,000 being deaf. The clamor has been to create a world that is equitable and inclusive of persons with disability. In 2010, the income tax exemptions order for persons with disabilities became effective by law. Only a person registered with a disability council earning less than 150,000 shillings is eligible for the tax exemption, as well as tax relief from drugs and treatment in hospitals. One would need a medical report that states the nature of the disability and confirmation of how it adversely affects their social and economic participation, and a letter from the employer stating the nature of disability and how it affects the employee's productivity at work before making the application to KRA. After vetting, the exemption certificate may be given, valid for 3 years or denied. One can appeal for it. But not so many disabled persons, more than half who live in rural areas, are aware of their right. Currently, Pauline is not employed. She had worked as a tailor and earned a temporary 3-month placement at a private bakery at Enterprise Road, Nairobi. After giving birth, she tells us she was no longer able to go back to work. Her income on average was 13,000 shillings, subject to tax of at least 1,324 shillings. She doesn't know about her eligibility for the exemption. Jeremiah, however, has made his application. His current engagement is a largely manual job at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport.
Most deaf get meager salaries, very little, but I will have to look for something else so that I can take care of the children.
Nonetheless, the silent home is one of contentment. It's common for deafness to be inherited, occasionally caused by infections, injury, and exposure to loud noises. Pauline and Jeremy are not looking for explanations for how they are, but an equitable and inclusive world not just for themselves, but also their children. Dorcas Wangira, KTN News, Nairobi.
Now, phase 1 of the multi-billion shilling standard gauge railway could be operational as early as next year, June, when passengers will be able to travel using modern locomotives from Mombasa to Nairobi and vice versa. But even as the prospects of the project slowly shifts from being a distant mirage to reality, the second phase, expected to kick off in January, may face the same challenges that gripped phase 1. Matters land compensation and a controversial environmental impact assessment that could possibly approve the rail passing through the world's only national park within a city. Timothy Otieno has more details for us.
Soon it will be out with the old and in with the new. The standard gauge railway, the biggest infrastructure project in the country since independence, whose first phase is on its final touches, is expected to commence commuter travels by June 2017.
We expect to start receiving locomotives by early January. There is a team already in China inspecting the final assembly and packaging of those in order for shipment to begin.
But that minor breakthrough has not come easy. The first phase of construction has been plagued with controversy following compensation rows involving residential as well as industrial bodies, especially along Mlolongo, where the railroad was initially meant to pass. That plan would have cost the government an additional 3 billion shillings.
At the moment.
To mitigate the huge spending, an alternative route, the Nairobi National Park, was suggested. As soon as that idea was floated, resistance began. Now behind me is a section of the standard gauge railway that just passes at the periphery of the eastern side of the Nairobi National Park. Contractors say a similar passage is expected to pass right through the national park. Environmentalists are not very comfortable with that idea. Conservationists insisted that the rather sacred national park was off limits for the rail.
If we destroy this, we are showing everybody that it is okay to touch any other national park or any other wildlife sanctuary. And for this, I say no.
But on the ground, work continues uninterrupted. The railway is expected to go the length of 6 kilometers through the park. Concerns have been raised that the project would hinder animal migration at the country's oldest national park.
But we've been able to address that by having this kind of piers to allow the free movement or free flow of animals. And it can be able to cater all sizes of animals, whether small, big, including the tallest of giraffes.
Joseph Gitau is talking about the use of such pillars ranging from 3 meters to 10 meters to suspend the railway above the national park once an environmental impact assessment on the same issues the green light.
The park, by the way, is extremely famous.
The Kenya Railway Corporation believes the passage through the park was the most viable option. The first phase of the railway at a length of 372 kilometers will shorten the passenger travel time from Mombasa to Nairobi from more than 10 hours to a little more than 4 hours. Freight trains will complete the journey in less than 8 hours.
The entire project is about 100% for the tracks and the bridges and the culverts and the underpasses.
And with the second phase about to commence, possibly in January, economists are hoping that much of what needs to be done for the rail from Nairobi, Naivasha, all the way to Malaba will remain on track. Timothy Otieno, KTN News.
Defending Kenya Cup champions Kabras RFC settled for a 15-all draw against KCB on March Day 5 in a match played at the Kakamega Showgrounds. Kabras began their march taking a 3-point courtesy of a successful converted penalty, but KCB replied with a try. Kabras grabbed another penalty to cut KCB's lead to a point. In the second half, KCB grabbed 8 points as Kabras got 9 to leave both teams tied at 15. In other matches of the day, Kenya Harlequins topped the Ngong Road Derby with a 28-10 win over Impala Saracens. Mwamba were 51-8 winners over Mean Machine, while Strathmore Leos got a 43-10 win over Nondis. Compassion International Kenya decided to take a step higher in soccer with the assistance of scouts and match officials. Compassion was able to select 48 boys and girls who were outstanding in soccer to attend a weeks-long soccer camp at Green Garden School, Gikambura in Kikuyu. They have to be trained by soccer professionals and coaches, an important mission of nurturing sports talent.
Junior group have really been giving their best, which is not normally in other teams, because they know they are here for 5 days, and these 5 days I've seen a transformation. We're on day 4 right now, and day 1 I can say we were at 20% in terms of training and performance. But right now we are headed towards 70-80. So I'm really looking to see how tomorrow how things will go tomorrow.
Both physically, mentally, spiritually. It's not only in the training, but I've also learned a few things about and how I can change my life. That is about sacrifice, discipline in football, and many things. Well, it's been a privilege to be coached by the Harambee Stars assistant coach, that is Musa, and I've learned a lot of things from him.
Again, to enjoy again. Yeah, usivunje mtu, so ukishamvunja then what? Yeah, and you know injury ndio inatoa mtu completely from the game. So when you cause somebody an injury and you mess career, how do you benefit from that? So let's purpose to enjoy the game.
All right, thank you so much for being with us on Weekend Prime tonight. Before we go quickly, let's remind you, we had asked you on Saturday night's poll whether you support court's decision to skip the leadership summit. Here's some of what you say. The caveman Felix said no. I think they believe it is a bad omen to sign peace documents. They lost in 2013 when they signed in 2012. And then another one here, Ahmed Hassan Ali. I do support the skip since it goes with their decision. Christian Black, Code is behaving as if it is one of us. Victor Odhiambo, Code is right to skip. Kepsa have done nothing little to advocate for fair poll, instead focusing on peaceful election. And one more here, Vincent Rono. No, I don't support because Code wants to make Kenyans believe that Jubilee is IEBC and IEBC is Jubilee. And so many more of your views tonight. We thank you for taking the time to tweet in and also for watching. On behalf of the great team here at KTN News and made the bulletin possible, we wish you a great night ahead. My name is Sofia Wanuna.